Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world with me, Deepika. Coming up in this special broadcast. Well, we are all set for the final docking of Axiom 4. After a successful Falcon 9 launch, the docking procedure of Axiom 4 SpaceX module with the International Space Station will begin shortly. Indian astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla and 3 other astronauts on board are on this current historic mission, and they will access the ISS post the docking process is complete. Well, as you can see there in the visuals, the process is largely automated but involves dozens of intricate steps, each demanding pinpoint accuracy. The AX-4 crew successfully lifted off on the 25th of June into space on board SpaceX's Dragon aircraft, nearly a month of delays and postponements. The Axiom 4 mission, launched aboard a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket, is unfolding as planned, with the spacecraft steadily approaching the International Space Station. The aircraft is also visible as confirmed by the ISS. Now, Wednesday was a historic day for India's space adventure. Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla successfully took off for Axiom 4 mission on board SpaceX Dragon spacecraft. Well, he's the first Indian in over 4 decades to be in space after Rakesh Sharma. The next report explores India's giant leap in space.
Yet another cosmic leap for India. Indian Air Force Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla has scripted history with the launch of Axiom Mission 4. A US commercial mission carrying astronauts from India, Poland and Hungary lifted off to the International Space Station on Wednesday, taking people from these countries to space for the first time in decades. The Axiom Mission 4, or AX-4, launched from NASA's Kennedy Space Center in Florida at 6:31 GMT with a brand new SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule riding atop a Falcon 9 rocket. Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, an Indian Air Force pilot who is the mission pilot, is India's second astronaut going into space, 4 decades after Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma made history in 1984. Sharma, the 39-year-old Indian Air Force fighter pilot, was chosen by ISRO as the prime astronaut for this historic flight. Soon after the Axiom 4 mission successfully entered Earth's orbit on Wednesday, Indian astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla shared his experience.
नमस्कार मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, व्हाट अ राइड। 40 साल बाद हम वापस अंतरिक्ष में पहुंच गए हैं और कमाल की राइड थी। और मेरे कंधे पे मेरे साथ मेरा तिरंगा है जो मुझे बता रहा है कि नहीं हूँ, मैं आप सबके साथ हूँ। ये मेरी इंटरनेशनल स्पेस स्टेशन तक की जर्नी की शुरुआत नहीं है, ये भारत के ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की शुरुआत है और मैं चाहता हूं कि आप सभी देशवासी इस यात्रा का हिस्सा बने। आपका भी सीना जैसे चौड़ा होना चाहिए, आप भी उतना ही एक्साइटमेंट दिखाइए। आइए हम सब मिलकर भारत की इस ह्यूमन स्पेस प्रोग्राम की जर्नी की शुरुआत करें। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla's parents were extremely elated and celebrated the momentous occasion.
अनुभव तो बहुत बढ़िया है, कहें और क्या कहें क्या ना कहें तो सब आप लोग देख ही रहे हो। अनुभव की कोई इमोशनल हो गए थे पर अब ठीक है।
President of India Draupadi Murmu congratulated Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla on the successful feat of Axiom 4 mission. On social media X, the President stated, and I quote, "As Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla creates a new milestone in space for India, the whole nation is excited and proud of an Indian's journey into the stars. My best wishes for the success of this mission." Taking to X, PM Narendra Modi praised the successful launch of the mission. The Indian astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is on the way to become the first Indian to go to International Space Station. He carries with him the wishes, hopes and aspirations of 1.4 billion Indians. Wish him and other astronauts all the success. India's cabinet also lauded the successful launch of Axiom 4 mission.
We welcome the successful launch of the space mission carrying astronauts from India, Hungary, Poland and the US. The Indian astronaut Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla is on the way to become the first Indian to go to International Space Station.
This is a moment where India has come of age. India is today a frontline nation, and it is, I would say, heralds the ascent of India to that pedestal of Viksit Bharat.
Once they reach the ISS on Thursday, the astronauts will spend about 2 weeks on the space station, where they will conduct microgravity research, technology demonstrations, and outreach events. Bureau Report, DD India.
So the Dragon is on its final docking approach, and to discuss more on this, I am joined by Dr. S.V. Sharma, who's the former Deputy Director of ISRO. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for joining us at this evening broadcast. Well, we are just a step away from creating yet another history when we talk about not only Shubhanshu Shukla, but India's dream flight to this very ISS that many Indians are currently hooked upon. How important this moment is for India and its future dreams, sir?
Yeah, good afternoon to you and good afternoon to viewers. As you rightly said, the dream moment has started yesterday, 12:01 p.m. as soon as the Falcon 9 rocket, the two-stage rocket, 76-meter tall and 700-ton heavy, majestically took off to the space, and the first stage got burnt out after 2 minutes plus, and the second stage started igniting, and both the stages were recovered. And at around 12:14 and 12:16, the successful injection of the module into the orbit of 417 kilometer from the Earth at an inclination of 51 degree was achieved by the Falcon rocket. This is really a milestone. Then on, the activity has gone on, and at about 12:30 to 1 p.m. Indian Standard Time, the crew has come out of the astronaut suits, and they had the first meal, as it has been popularly published and announced that he had carried the gajar halwa, then moong dal halwa, plus various mango juice-based food, etc. for his first meal. And later on, the journey has continued for 28 long hours. And the crew had, of course, had 2-3 meals in between. Is what is their personal requirement as a human being. As far as the mission is concerned, even though the launch has happened almost to the textbook launch, there is always need for adjustment of the perigee, apogee, and perigee and apogee of the crew module. Therefore, last approximately 8 to 10 hours, that adjustment of the orbit had been going on. Even though the ISS is at 417 kilometer, 51 degree, and it is spatially separated by the Space Dragon, which is also at 417 kilometer, 51 degree, but spatially separated by about 50 kilometers. That is the distance between them. They are on the same line. Please imagine that they are on the same line, and but they are separated by about 50 kilometers so that they don't collide. Is how it had been happening for last, about 8 to 10 hours. For the past 10 hours, it has started coming closer, and it is now we have to see that the orbit has been adjusted, and the crew has got onto the astronaut suits back, because now they have to get ready for docking and getting into ISS. Once they normally in the capsule, they are not in the astronaut suit, and when they have to get into ISS and dock, they will necessarily get into the astronaut suit, and they are all in astronaut suit now. Last 7 hours to 8 hours, it had been happening that the fine course adjustment of the orbit, what we call it as the fine course adjustment. Even though it is 417, they are on the same line, there can always be a dispersion of about 200 to 300 meters, which has been adjusted, and the module has been brought closer in about 2 hours. That is about 2:30 Indian Standard Time. The spacecraft was around 1,900 meters, that is approximately 2 kilometers from ISS. That is the spatial distance between the ISS and the Dragon crew module was about approximately 2 kilometers, and the velocity was approximately about 28,000 kilometers per second. Right. They were moving at almost the same speed. Then on the speed reduction has happened. Now it is that from laser tracking, it has come down to now at around 4 p.m. That is about 30 minutes from the scheduled capture of the Crew Dragon with ISS. The fine capturing will start. Now it is the laser capturing mode, and once in the last 30 minutes, the fine tracking will happen. The speed will reduce, the relative speed, I should say, between the Crew Dragon and the ISS will be reduced to near zero, and there will be soft catch at around 4 hours, 27 or 28 minutes Indian Standard Time, and then there will be hard locking into the ISS, and then the crew will move into what is called as the airlock room, and they will be there is what is called as dress down for 2 to 3 hours. They will be dressed down. Their temperature, their vitals will be monitored. The conditions of the ISS and it is like a double door, house where you enter one door and stand there before you open the second door. That's what is called the airlock. And after they are completely thoroughly prepared for getting into ISS, maybe another 2 to 3 hours. That's about 7:30 or 8 p.m. Approximately. Depends on how well they respond, how well they get adjusted to the new environment of ISS. Once it is done, the crew there in the ISS will be ready to receive the astronauts, the 4 astronauts, including Shubhanshu Shukla. This entire exercise is something linked to our Gaganyaan. The entire experience is going to be useful for the mission which is impending from India. That is 2026 and 27 for our Gaganyaan. Shubhanshu Shukla is one of our lead astronaut, and right now he is the pilot, and probably he will play a major role in our Gaganyaan program. Over to you.
Indeed, sir, when we talk about Gaganyaan, this is also a very major milestone in India's dream, and to further its expansion not only nationally but internationally too. And also, as many are saying, that we have a new hero this time, not in screens but in space. And when we talk about Shubhanshu Shukla, and the current update says that Dragon spacecraft is just about 600 feet away, and the SpaceX has given the go-ahead for it to continue, and it is going to dock at Port Harmony. Sir, tell us more about Port Harmony.
This ISS has about 12 to 16 ports which are available for various docking needs. In those, certain ports are reserved for the cargo. We must remember that everything required for the ISS, for the crew to stay there, to live there, for doing everything, the cargo has to be supplied from here. The food requirement, the fluid requirements, the costumes, the astronaut suits, everything has to be separate from here. As if there is nothing there for a human being to live. Everything has to get supplied there for an astronaut to live. This is one part. Second part is that this ISS is also 25 years old. It has been working for 26 years, and now it needs refurbishments. And it needs spare parts, it needs several other, continuous routine maintenance, etc. And it needs also for the astronaut suits and various, laboratory requirements, etc. Continuously, the ports will be operated for the cargo movement and the astronaut movement. In that, 3 to 4 ports specifically are reserved for the astronauts the capsule to dock, where the astronauts would enter. Mainly the 2 ports. Other port is right now with the Crew 10 module is docked with other port where the astronauts would enter. And now the Harmony port is where the present crew of the Dragon module will be docked. And as I said, once the docking happens, once the hard locking happens, the door of the module, the Dragon module will be open to a place where a double door type of arrangement, where they will be moved into a airlock room, what we call it as airlock room, and the Dragon door will be closed, and they will be in such a place where their temperature, pressure, and their vital conditions, etc. will be monitored. They will be dressed down, what is called as dressing down, will be done for them, so that they will be mentally, physically, psychologically prepared. Even they will be made to stretch, and they will be physically seen that they are all fit to move into the ISS, where it is a 0G, micro-G type of condition, where they will have to float and get into the ISS. Maybe it takes about 2 to 3 hours, depends on how well and how fast they respond. And after that 2 to 3 hours of dress down, what we call it as, then they will enter into ISS, and the 7 astronauts who are there will be receiving, as we have seen in other trips where the astronauts have been entering. We have been seeing several videos of such type, where Shubhanshu Shukla will also be entering into it and creating history for India, and of course the pride for all of us, because it is rehearsal for us for our impending Gaganyaan. I'm coming back and back to Gaganyaan and our human space program, and also our impending Bharat space station, which is scheduled to be launched between 2035 and 2040, and all these exercises are a necessity for the success of the space program of our country.
We are continuously showing the live visuals from the mission which is currently underway right now to all the viewers on our screens. And not only this, we are just few minutes away from the docking process. And as Dr. Sharma is continuously explaining us that how the process is looking like. But still, when till the time we wait for the complete docking process to be there, sir, what are the challenges that could still be one very much careful about when we look at this very successful completion of this mission, completion of docking of its procedure, sir?
Everything in space is a challenge or no challenge, whichever the way we can take it. As scientists, as engineers, we are completely prepared for every type of situation that arises, and many times we won't call it as a challenge because we know the possibilities and the options, and we handle it. You could see, probably the general public would feel that the scientists sitting there on the control panel, including me, would be absolutely tense when we launch every time. But of course, we are very serious and we are very concerned and we are very focused. But we also know for every cause there is an effect, and for every effect there is a solution. And for everything what happens, we always have a backup of solutions. Having said that, here again, when now it is about 600 meters from the ISS, and it will be moving in a controlled manner. What you should call, there are thrusters in the Dragon crew module, where it will be controlled firing will be there. Now, generally 5 to 6 thrusters will be fired in such a way that the orientation of the Dragon module should be in line with the ISS. That's the first challenge. Second challenge is the velocity of the Dragon module and the ISS should become approximately zero. It cannot be absolute zero because both are traveling at 28,000 kilometers per hour. Please remember that both of them are traveling at a speed of 58,000 kilometer orbit in the orbit plane, and they have to mate, means at the mating time the speed should become approximately zero. This is the second challenge. Third one is that the angle of angle of inflation, angle of the docking is extremely important, because it is like our lotus type of thing, where the ISS will capture the Dragon crew module. What we call it as rundos and docking. Rundos means one is running, other one is chasing, so they will rundos and docking. They catch up each other, and once they catch up, then the entire system of what is called as the close proximity docking will happen. There are several sensors which are involved, several cameras which are involved, and there are several actuators and the systems which are involved, and the communication systems are continuously interacting to see that the challenges which are there, of course, that's why it is called rocket science, and they are all addressed. And any type of contingency, anytime, there is always a way to take it forward. That is the confidence which with ISRO in particular, world in large scientists work, and therefore I would feel that the way the preparations are going on, the way things are happening, the way the things are moving, and the types of positive indications that the mission is giving, Axiom 4 mission. I've also been tracking continuously Axiom 4 mission, as well as the mission control room of ISS. There are multiple mission control rooms involved here. That also I should make a mention. There is mission control room of ISS, which is continuously handling ISS and ensuring that the docking happens. There is the mission control room for Dragon crew module, which is continuously ensuring that the interaction with the astronauts and the systems in the modules are continuous, and there are no upsets, etc. And also there is a team from SpaceX, the rocket people, PSLV, the people from the rocket side who are continuously monitoring the happening of the docking of this event. And right now, I think we are at about 3 hours 50 minutes. It's about 500 meters from the from the ISS, and now the close proximity, close loop is on. The entire system is towards the docking, of successful docking at around 2 hours 30 minutes Indian Standard Time.
So 30 minutes it will take entirely to complete the successful docking. Is it the procedure?
It is like this. Right now, it is about 500 meters from the ISS. The Dragon is moving at a speed of about 28,000 kilometers per hour, and also ISS is moving at about 28,000 kilometers. The relative speed now is the same. So therefore, they maintain the distance of about 500 meters. Now, there will be thrusters which will be fired in the Dragon module, which would bring the Dragon module closer to the ISS. And as it goes along, when it comes to about 200 meters, there will be a pause. That means, again, there will be the speed of both of them will be maintained in such a way that it won't collide. Then at about 200 feet, again the fine control thrusters, what we call it as, about 5 to 6 thrusters will be fired in a controlled mode to ensure that the angle of inclination, the velocity, the direction, and the communication, this network is completely in harmony to have a harmonious docking into the ISS through Harmony port.
And we are continuously showcasing the live visuals from there to all our viewers. And in a very short while from now, history will again be created when Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla will become the first Indian to journey the International Space Station. So when we understand more about it, and you've explained us in detail that how the docking procedure will take place and what is the timeline that is expected. But once the docking procedure is completed, what is the next step for Group Captain and his entire team? Because we are learning the fact that they are going to stay there for 14 days and there will be certain experiments which will be done.
First thing is that once the docking happens, the immediate requirement is that the astronauts who are already in the astronaut suits will be ready to get into ISS, and they will be taken to a place where it is called as what we call technically as the airlock room, where they will be dressed down. In the sense, their vital parameters will be maintained, managed, measured, checked, and they will be given the physical, mental, psychological exercise to see that they are fit enough to be taken into ISS. And there will be complete briefing of what happens, what is going to happen inside ISS, etc., and what is the current situation. And there will be complete briefing of the various parameters of the International Space Station and the impending actions and activities for them, even though they are all documented, very well documented, very well explained, and very well trained. But even then, there is a procedure what is called as to brief them regarding the various further activities, etc. And there will also be a sort of a meal they will be provided, and after the meal is provided, they will be getting into the ISS, maybe 2 or 3 hours or maybe 4 hours, depending upon how fast and how well they will get dressed up for getting into ISS. Once they get into the ISS, there is next 14 days are crucial. Okay, the entire activity is for doing the experiment for next 14 days by Shubhanshu Shukla. There are about 60 experiments planned, and there is a contribution from 30 countries for these 60 experiments. In that, the most crucial experiment that Shubhanshu Shukla ji is going to do is 7 experiments which we have listed and which the country laboratories are contributing. One is growing the vegetables and the food items there, and to see how well the growth happens and what is the difference between what is grown in the earth and what is grown in the zero gravity situation, the nutrients, the proteins, the minerals, etc., etc. Of course, there will be difference, right? Even if you see the food grains grown in part of Punjab and part of Haryana, even though they are closer, the nutrient content, the food content, the taste, etc., differ. So there again, the study will be there. That is one part. And second thing is that the sprouting exercises, where for preparing the salads, etc., you have to sprout the seeds, etc. How it can be done, what is to be done, etc. is second. See, basically, what experiments which are going to be carried out are important from the point of view that an astronaut, if he goes into the space into space station, or if a colonization happens, how an astronaut can live himself or herself without depending upon the food supply from the Earth. It is extremely expensive. It is extremely difficult to supply cargo from Earth every time. So therefore, it is imperative to have those things. Even the oxygen, generation of oxygen, generation of water, etc. Those are also really important things which some of these experiments he is going to perform. Specifically, he is also going to do some experiments on medical lines in terms of the diabetic, related studies, where if any diabetic patient with the high sugar, modules, if ever he gets into space, or if any astronaut gets into diabetic condition in space, what type of reaction can be there, what medication can be there, is there. And next, other two experiments are also important in terms of muscular loss. If it is naturally known, and everybody is a well-known theory that in space, in microgravity, under radiation condition, muscle loses its mass, and there is requirement for protein, there is requirement of minerals, etc. supplements. So he is going to make a study what type of minerals can be substituted, what kind of protein can be substituted, etc. And also the bone density and bone density loss, how it can be controlled. It is known, but now the people are going, the astronauts are going to ISS, but they are not able to stay there for long, right? Even when we had Sunita Williams stayed there for 336 days, we were all concerned. From the naturally, even though ISS is ideal situation, NASA assures that there is nothing going to be harmful for the astronaut, etc. is there, but the natural degradation, nothing can be 100% perfect, nothing can be as natural as the Earth condition. Whatever we are doing is only simulation and the simulated condition of ISS. Under those conditions, how an astronaut can survive successfully for longer time is something, those studies which are he is going to do is going to be useful for our needs. And in addition to that, last but not the least, for our Gaganyaan purposes, we also need to use our astronauts for controlling the computer systems, the keyboards, and the consoles, etc. So he is going to do an experiment for operating the iPods and the keyboards, etc., which are similar to what is going to be in Gaganyaan. Therefore, my view is that the experiments are going to be something to do with medical, something to do with the vegetable growing, etc., something to do with the microorganisms which he has taken. How do they multiply the microorganisms? What we call it as
yes, sir. I would like to interrupt you here, because as you were just saying that as soon as the Dragon reaches near the ISS, International Space Station, the picture will be very clear, crystal clear. And now we are having the crystal clear image from there. Would you like to add something to it? Because we are nearing the docking process, which is about to begin, and history will be created once more for India, sir.
Of course, as I said, right now they are in line of sight, what we call as line of sight. That is, they are able to see each other. That is ISS port and the Dragon Cruise port. It is able to align itself. So that is the first requirement. That is the first visuals what we are seeing. They are absolutely harmonious and aligned. And now what is required is the angle of inclination, angle of approach, and the velocity is also important. Therefore, next 30 minutes. The main, what we call it as the proximity docking, experiment for proximity docking requirements. What we call them as, there several sensors, cameras, and actuators are involved in. So there are several RS systems which are involved, several optical systems, and also several electromechanical systems which are involved in this docking process. They will all be checked, and they will also all be kept ready. And right now, probably it is 3 hours 40 minutes. Probably it will be in auto mode of auto mode of docking, where the entire docking systems will be controlled automatically by computers at both the ends, ISS and Dragon. They are continuously interacting. The computers in Dragon as well as computers in the ISS are continuously interacting among themselves. Now there won't be probably manual intervention, and the docking should happen automatically once all the parameters are met and there are no dispersions in whatever is measured as well as whatever is expected. then the docking should happen at around 4:30 p.m.
A very important point that you've just mentioned, sir, that out of the 60 experiments that the team is going to do there at ISS, out of 67 have been recommended by ISRO, by India, and based on certain factors that India has outlined in its plan. But when we talk about this multinational project, we are having different nationalities. It is a diversified, group of people that has come together to make this operation a great success. It is also a collaboration between different countries. How is it going to benefit India when Shubhanshu comes back, returns back, the group captain, after having that very important experience with him and depicting India's youth icon?
Extremely good question. You have asked me a very good question. The entire vision of Axiom 4 is, what is called as coordination, cooperation among 4 different countries. There are astronauts are from 4 different countries. One is from US, the commander. Then Shubhanshu Shukla is from India, and then one is from Hungary and another is Poland. And 4 different, astronauts from different countries with different cultures coming at one place and interacting is the first major international cooperation, I should say. This is first. Second thing is moving together, getting into training, and then getting into the capsule for travel and traveling together and staying there for 14 days is really going to be a sort of example for all the young generation to adopt and also manage with the different type of people, different cultured people, etc. is something which we have to see. I must also say here one thing is that the space is is always rocket science, and it always there are uncertainties are that whichever space faring nation, it may be developed nation, developing nation, or whatever you call it, there is always need for interaction among the space faring nations. Maybe NASA, ESA, ISRO, JAXA, for example, there were 4 or 5 countries who are continuously exchanging technological information, etc. And therefore, such type of interface in the space, irrespective of the geography, irrespective of political line, irrespective of the gains and the losses, there is continuous interaction, coordination, cooperation among things. And I think with these types of further experiments, India has further moved towards much
Sir, I
more.
would like to interrupt here because we are getting you the live visuals, and many congratulations to you as well, because the successful docking process has completed right now. The Axiom 4 has docked at the ISS Harmony port. Many congratulations to you. How important this moment is, because we were talking about the challenges it brings with itself, and right now, sir, we are watching the successful docking in front of our eyes on the screen.
Yeah. Of course, it is extremely important moment for all of us, where the docking has soft docking has happened now, and it would take some more time for the hot docking to happen. And once the hot docking happens, then there will be several actuators which are going to get initiated. I think it will take another few more minutes before they declare that the docking is complete. It will take few more minutes for the successful declaration of the successful docking.
And we are also getting you the live visuals. These are Shubhanshu's parents, who are really happy and proud after seeing the visuals. This is a moment of proud for India when we talk about the successful docking, because this is for the first time that India's Shubhanshu has made it to the International Space Station. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us and getting us this very important moment in great understanding.